Welcome to this presentation about real-world history. My name is Cosby Hunt. I work for a place called Center for Inspired Teaching. I also teach at Theodore Roosevelt High School in the Petworth neighborhood of DC. Real-world history is a class for students from across the city, 10th through 12th graders, whether you go to a DCPS school, a public charter school, or a private school in DC, you are eligible for this class. That's me on the left, of course. That's my co-teacher, Max Peterson, on the right. And in the middle is one of our narrators, Miss Edith Crutchfield. A narrator is someone who tells the story of their life in an interview. And we'll get to those interviews in a minute. Let's talk about Drake for a minute. People sign up for this class for a lot of different reasons. But one thing is for sure is that this class makes you look better to colleges. So let's just say that here's the stack of applications for the college that you are hoping to go to. And for whatever reason, yours is right here in the middle. But then they find out that you took this after-school class called Real World History, that you did an oral history interview with a Black Washingtonian that was archived at the DC Public Library, and that you did an internship through this class at a museum or historic site. And as Drake would say, you started from the bottom, now you're here. Here are some real world history students on a field trip that we took with a group of narrators to the Museum of Modern Art in New York City to see Jacob Lawrence's migration series. We'll get to that migration series in a little bit. Here are some logistics. Class meets twice a week from 5 to 7 p.m., Tuesdays and Thursdays on the 4th floor of the Martin Luther King Library. This class is an official course in the DCPS catalog, a one semester honors course. So you get a little bit of extra GPA love. In the second semester, also an official DCPS course, students will complete a National History Day project as well as an internship at a museum or historic site. Notice that we will only meet in person twice a month, second semester, because you'll be doing your internship. There's the MLK Library right next to the Gallery Place Metro. We will meet on that 4th floor. Our first field trip of the year is to the Phillips Collection, where we will see Jacob Lawrence's migration series. So here is a student here who had the opportunity to do the write-up for this panel from the migration series. The migration series tells the story of the 6 million Black folks who left the South and to go to the North and the West during most of the 20th century. These are the folks that we'll be interviewing as part of our oral history project. And our work, the students' work and other students of that year was included at the Phillips Collection on the walls of the Phillips Collection, as they did write-ups about the different panels. This is the major book that we read during the first semester, Isabel Wilkerson's The Warmth of Other Suns. Isabel Wilkerson, I'm proud to say, is a graduate of Theodore Roosevelt High School, where I teach. This book will help us create our questions, the questions that we use to in our interviews with narrators. Oh, there's Isabel Wilkerson herself on a visit to Cardozo High School many years ago. Students in that first year of real world history back in 2014, we got to go over to Cardozo and meet Ms. Wilkerson and thank her for writing her book. Here's Kelly, one of the students in that first year, interviewing her narrator. You guys have smartphones. Just about every student completes their interview on their phone in between 45 minutes to an hour. These two students got lucky. Their narrator brought props, pictures from his time in World War II, as well as other things. So that was a neat part of their interview. Stephen, his narrator, if you can believe it, in this picture, she was 100 years old. I hope I look that good when I'm 100. This is where our interviews land. The DC Public Library keeps them in a real world history, oral history project. You'd be able to click on the name of the narrator. You'd be able to see the student who conducted the interview. You'd be able to hear the interview, read the transcript. So your work will live on forever in this repository, in this archive that DC Public Library has. Second semester, students will interview for internships. Ties are not required, but I'm sure it didn't hurt Kenny with that winning smile of his to have a tie as well. So we set up opportunities for students to interview with folks from places like the National Mall, Frederick Douglass House, Ford's Theater, the the Smithsonian Folklife Center. And here's an example of one of the projects that students completed as part of their National History Day project. Students do not have to do projects about the Great Migration. These students, having spent a whole semester studying the Great Migration, decided to stay on that path and do this exhibit about the Great Migration. These two students decided to do a performance about the birth of the Black Studies program at Eastern High School in the 1960s. These are Eastern students in the 2000s who had researched the birth of Black Studies at their high school many years before. So lots of reasons to take real world history. Think about the Drake principle. Think about making new friends from around the city. And let me know if you have questions. There's my email. You can apply at the Inspired Teaching website. There's the link. And I hope to hear from you.